When I entered marriage, I thought a good team divided and conquered. And so if I noticed my wife was thinking about our daughter, I would stop thinking about our daughter. She's got her stewardships, I've got mine. Let's keep them separate so we don't step on each other's toes. What I didn't realize I was creating is I was choreographing a cohabitation marriage. A man and a woman who lived together, but they weren't harmonizing together. Here's the baby steps to presiding correctly. When a man is ready to practice presiding correctly. For a beginner, he might spend a full day or more on each step. In time with practice, he may be able to do each step in a matter of minutes. Brethren, you are going to want to get good at these steps. Step 1, retreat, man of the mountain. Go hang out with God and decide the priorities for your stewardships. Now, there are entire books on this one sentence. My favorite one is probably First Things First by Stephen Covey. It is important that this is done on a regular basis and not just in a moment of duress. A true presider values being a step ahead, not waiting for there to be a problem. Start by picking any piece of your stewardship. My experience with women is they don't care where you start as long as you start somewhere. Pick something you're responsible for, write that at the top of the page. Write the word reflect underneath it and call upon God and the Holy Ghost and think. Let's reflect on this for a minute and take some notes. By the way, you Apple users, there's a new note-taking tool called Freeform that is glorious if you don't think in straight lines. It allows me to create spider graphs of this thought, which leads to this thought, which leads to this thought, and this thought back here leads to this thought, and then you can share that and go, this is the results of my reflecting. Formulate a few ideas that would improve your stewardship. One resource for this is Stephen Covey's Roles and Goals, and also the use of President Nelson's D-Part tool. Initiate a conversation with your wife about the topics discovered in step 1. Now, let me add to this. Usually, this involves asking her on a date. Here's the scary one. Ask if she wants to add her thoughts and feelings on the subject. Lots of men go, I do not want to ask her because she will give me a whole bunch of stuff. With a notebook, take notes on her thoughts and feelings about the ideas. So here's how you might do it. You would say, hey, I've been thinking about the needs of our son. I assume you've been thinking about the needs of our son. I thought Thursday at 7 p.m. or Saturday at 2 p.m. we could spend 30 minutes together and I can share you my thoughts and you can share me yours and see if we can get some momentum. The healthiest marriages are led by a man who presides, not who controls, not who dominates, not who domineers. This means he thinks about his stewardship about a millimeter more than his wife. Once you have taken good notes, you say thank you, and then retreat again with the help of God to get an accurate interpretation of what she's saying. Man, I had a difficult session with a husband the other day, and he was defaulting to a common masculine error, which is when a woman says something that doesn't make sense, it means it doesn't make sense. Like, it means she's crazy. What he's not doing is he's not taking the time to translate it into something more meaningful. If you have a hard time finding value in what your wife says, that means you're not getting an accurate interpretation. Women do not say things that are stupid. They do not think of things that are stupid. It just might not come out clearly for you. While you're sitting with God, start to formulate a synergy of your ideas with hers, including a consideration for the miracles that would have to take place. I have another man I saw yesterday who's such a realist. He never allows the possibility of a miracle solution. He's always breaking down her vision into reality, is what he calls it, something more down to earth. When I'm all, dude, you're missing out on a lot of miracles. Then, so this up here is the redoing of the D part. Redo the discover, plan, act, reflect process. How many times do you do it? Well, how many times does a coach do it? How many times does a composer do it? Return with a counter proposal based on your wisdom and inspiration with your awareness of any pending miracles God has in store for you. You may have to do these steps over and over again. Leave the room for the wife to grieve the human limitations, and if the ideas are truly inspired, give her time to get her own second witness and prepare emotionally for the challenges ahead. Do not lose your compassion for how scary this is going to be for her. If you're truly an inspired leader, you will be patient and charitable with the time it takes for her to gain confidence in you. Can you be patient and full of charity as your wife decides whether or not she can trust you, as your wife decides whether or not she wants to follow you? As you strive to fulfill your stewardships, you're going to come up to the line of scrimmage, you're going to come up to the events in front of you, and you're going to have some surprises. The mistake I've made, and that a lot of men make, is they notice it, they start changing the plan, but they don't tell their wives they're changing the plan. For instance, I'm running errands. The plan was for me to go from this store, this store, and this store. In between these two stores was a store that I go, oh, I remember I was going to pick up something from that store for myself and for my wife. But I don't call an audible and I don't tell my wife. Satan says, well, you shouldn't have to tell her because she's not your mom. I says, yeah, but if I'm a quarterback and I've got a receiver and I want to stay in good connection with them, I let them know if something's going to change about the plan because we both want to win. Do we both want to win? Or am I battling with my spouse as my opponent as opposed to being my teammate? You, if you want to be the quarterback, you have to communicate like a quarterback. Hey, change of plans. I'm going to stop at this store in between these two stores and grab this and this. Now she feels included, like, okay, I'm the receiver. I saw you call an audible. I don't know why you called an audible. I don't see what you saw, but okay, we'll go with it. You can explain it to me later. And if you're going to be a leader in your family, you have to give people a vision of where you're taking them. And this can be subcategorized into all the different sections, including the stewardship of finances. Right, so what you do is you take a section and you put on the top of it, family finances, and then you put it below that, I have a dream. You describe the way finances will function in their ideal form, according to your vision. Most of us men were taught to be good workers, but not good leaders, meaning we know how to think and do, but we're not very good at sharing the vision of what we think and do. So for a man brain who thinks linearly, we need to give other people two main pieces of information for a GPS system to work correctly. It needs to know where we're going, and it needs to know where we're starting. This is something we don't often pass on to our wives. Most of the time, men act according to how things are because they're just trying to handle things as they are. They rarely verbalize where I'm trying to get to. So the first thing you describe is things as they would function in their perfect form, what money she would have access to without having to be accountable to it, how the bank accounts would work, how much would be in savings, how much is spent on the category of entertainment in its ideal form, how much money you would be making at a minimum in its ideal form, and how much money you intend to get to the point where you are making it. Like, do you plan to stay at the income level you're at now forever? Or is it your plan to double your income in the next 5 to 10 years? She may not know your plan. She may not know. She may think that you plan to make less money or that you plan to make the same money. She doesn't know what you're doing in many cases. So she doesn't know where you're taking her. In the same way that I would not get in Christopher Columbus's boat if I didn't know where he was taking me. Wives do not want to get in a boat with you if they don't know where you would take them. Then you get a clear vision on where you currently are. And if you're meticulous with spreadsheets and stuff like that, you can write it out. Here's where we are. Here's how much money we have for this. Here's how much money we have for that. Now, when you're presiding, you don't bring that to her and plop it in front of her. You say, here's how it is. Okay, you follow the steps that we just talked about. And then you say, here's my vision. I'm extremely interested in yours. So now you listen and take notes on her ideal financial situation. Interestingly, we men hardly ever ask the woman how she thinks family finances would work in its ideal form. Most of the time, we're just trying to manage things as they are. Most wives are floored and shocked and confused in a good way when you actually listen to and take notes on their vision. Don't say, hey, woman, go write it down and bring it to me. Have it be an interaction. Listen, write it down. Listen, and write it down. Now, you're going to get two different answers. You can't try to synergize them in her presence. You've got a vision, she's got a separate vision. This is when you go back up into the mountain and you say, Father, I don't know what to do with this. It looks like she wants to go this way and I want to go this way. This is where you get the revelation called a hybrid revelation. President Milson is encouraging us to believe in miracles. A modern day miracle is when you can receive revelation on how to bridge your vision with her vision into a hybrid. This is what spiritual intimacy is. When we take the experience of psychological intimacy and we get both people's vision cleared, and then we bring it together into an inspired solution. So that when you come down from the mountain, she experiences you as Moses with revelation, not an idea, not how I want it. You come back with something smarter than you, wiser than you, that takes full consideration for her vision. Now, if you're a normal man, you're going to be walking up the hill thinking James chapter 1 verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, I lack wisdom. I do not know how to synergize my vision with her vision. Okay, take that to God and say, I don't know how this is done. He's all, coming to me, all you that labor and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I will help you figure it out. Now, you might have to go up and down the mountain several times. I think I got it figured out. You go down and she goes, that wasn't quite what I had in mind. That's da-da-da. Then you go back up. Almost every woman I've ever worked with, when she hears a man speak something with revelation, the Holy Ghost will second the witness to her because you did the work it took to be inspired, even if she doesn't fully trust you yet.